Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevate Your Business. I'm Ed Jureki, and I'm thrilled to guide you through today's episode. It's designed to inspire and empower you on your journey to business success. Today, we're thrilled to have a guest, Robert Lee from American Heritage Financial, a firm with over 20 years of experience in specializing personalized retirement planning with us. Their boutique-style approach allows them to offer unique and tailored solutions without being limited by product companies. Join us as we explore how their dedicated team helps individuals and business owners maximize their retirement income through customized financial strategies. As Robert joins us on the show, he'll shed light on what success means to him personally and how his definition has evolved over time, as well as one or two of his top challenges and the lessons learned associated with them. And finally, for today, we'll explore how Robert has leveraged innovation in his business and other work to overcome challenges and achieve his goals. So let's welcome Robert Lee to the show. Robert, it's wonderful to see you again. How are you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for the opportunity.
Uh, Absolutely wonderful. We've known each other for a little bit now, and I've always respected what you're doing and how you've done it. So to start with, could you share with our audience a little bit more about yourself and your business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've been in the finance business in one form or another for almost 30 years now. And what we find is depending upon which part of the finance business you're in, you're always able to deliver value. And so in the past 20 years, 25 years or so, I've been working in the business market of the financial services business, and that has the ability to help people define what they're looking for, mostly in the business owner market, and really helping themselves define what that is that they're looking for and what they're getting out of things. Because they spend so much of their time working in their business, they don't necessarily work on their business.
Yeah, absolutely understood. So to start with, how do you define success today?
Great question. Success to me today is working with people and seeing them flourish. And when I say that is accomplishing what they said was important to them. Because so many times you see people that really want to get things in a certain way, but they don't take the time to make those things happen because they're working in they spend so much time working in their business.
Outstanding. And as you indicated, you've been through a heck of a journey so far. And I know part of that journey, just from our conversations and moving from corporate to your own business. So, how has your definition of success evolved through that time?
I think that definition, you might say, of success has changed. I think a little bit earlier in my career, it was more about getting comfortable in that corporate environment, growing that corporate environment, finding out where you fit in that corporate environment, and at the same time, helping yourself help other people. And in the past, let's say 30 years, 25 years, I have really come to enjoy, like I said, watching individuals flourish, not as much of what certain companies or certain things are trying to accomplish. So to me, it's changed really in focusing in on people and basically getting rid of all of the other distractions.
And as we've talked, there's lots of opportunities for corporate distractions, aren't there? And so, also through that same journey, it's never easy. There are always challenges, various sizes, magnitudes, shapes. What are one or two of those key challenges that you faced and the lessons learned to pass along to our audience?
Sure. I think there's a couple pieces or challenges that you simply overcome. One of them is the amount of information that people receive today. And some of it is good information, but a lot of it is not great information. And when I say that is, it might be prepackaged to an audience that they don't necessarily fit in perfectly. And then another challenge that you have is overcoming procrastination. I find working with businesses and individuals and things of that, well, life in general, things happen.
Yeah,
And so it allows people to take their eye off the ball for a few days or a week. And then, that old rule of 72, if you come across information and you don't do something with it in 72 hours, you run the risk of it going back to the way it was.
you know what? That is a great way. I have not heard it quite stated that way, but that makes a lot of sense. I love that. Any other lessons learned to pass along to our audience?
I think also too is these big box companies, you might say, we're very much in a regulated business, which we welcome that because it helps you to continue to do the right thing. But in terms of the big box companies, sometimes they can be confining because they don't maybe share the value or the vision that you have for how you're trying to help people.
Right. And then from a customer perspective or somebody that's looking at those options as to how best to attain their financial dreams, they're limited by whatever that big box company offers, especially if they're not someone who goes out and compares and contrasts between those different entities. Is that a fair way to express that?
That's a great way of saying it. Products are never the problem. Solutions are really never the problem. It's really getting to know the situation of that person better and really kind of looking under the hood, as you might say, and finding out what it is that they're really trying to accomplish. And then, like I said, fighting that procrastination and helping them find their journey.
And shifting to innovation, how is innovation helping you drive your business today?
Well, since 2020, I think the biggest innovation is doing what we're doing today. Over 75-80% of the work that I do is done in this form, which is basically virtual. And I would say we're kind of slowly moving back to that face-to-face, working with CPAs, working with attorneys, working with business owners, et cetera. But certainly the pandemic, in a sense, has given this way of doing business, it's certainly moved it forward years.
And when you consider where things are potentially going to the future, and you consider what you just shared relative to this it's kind of a pendulum swing a little bit. The pandemic really forced everything to virtual, and there's some pull over here especially by the corporate monoliths that want the face-to-face. And there's also an element that this face-to-face just is the right thing. How do you see that actually projecting into the future?
I think it's probably going to move closer to that 60-40, 50-50. And the reason that I say that is because that face-to-face interaction can never be replaced. However, once you do have that face-to-face interaction and you gain that trust and you gain that rapport and you gain that idea of what people are looking for, then you're able to take more of those tactical things that you'll do on a monthly, annual basis, whatever the case may be, and being able to do some of these things in more of this format. So the tactical, I think, can continue this way, but certainly working with other advisors and working with other professionals, that face-to-face is never really replaced.
Yeah, and the other thing that keeps coming to mind around this is just the productivity balance.
Yes.
Like you said, if and think about it, sometimes we get ghosted, right? People don't show up, whether it's face to face, it's a Zoom call or whatever. And that, if you're at a place, and I've had this happen to me, if you're at an appointment and they don't show up, then you've got all your travel time there. And I always try to set multiple things up in a similar area, but sometimes that doesn't pan out either. And then you get to travel back, where, whether you're in a business environment for a corporation or not, you can go back to back to back or immediately shift over to something else. So when you consider where things have been kind of over here more on the virtual side, and now they're being pulled back to get ultimately to that 50-50 balance, how do you see business owners having to work through that to maximize their value, their benefit, their growth, but yet half that time is spent in these face-to-face settings, which require tremendous more time, energy, and effort?
That's an interesting question, and I'm not sure I've thought about that much, but certainly it's going to happen. And one thing I did not say there was when you have a company that has multiple business owners, this can be a godsend, simply because getting 3 or 4 owners in a room at the same time can be a very big challenge.
Yeah.
And sometimes working with a pharmaceutical company, and they had operations in a different country, and there were 4 owners, just as an example, and they work in different areas, and getting them all together was a challenge. But the meetings go in this format can go quite a bit easier. So I think, in my opinion, still to be figured out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I was just interested in your insights because I agree with you. I think that pendulum is going to settle somewhere in that 60-40, 60-40, 50-50 range. But it's going to be interesting because it is going to produce challenges because productivity, just pure productivity, we gain so much. But the relationships, even with Zoom, we get the body language, we get the facial expressions, we get the tones, we get all that, but we don't have the handshakes.
You don't. And you also don't have that sometimes that 5-10 minutes of just conversation that you may or may not have. Sometimes when people get on this type of a call, they move to business rather quickly. And I think that is good, but I also think that's something missing there as well. So,
Yeah, that is a great point. Very great point. Final takeaway for our audience. If there was one thing that you could offer and say you really must consider this as part of your life and business success, what would that be?
take the time to work with someone that is going to really get to know you and your situation. If I line up 10 cars on the middle of a driveway or a road and I talk to them for a little bit, there's going to be 10 different situations. And when I say that, Ed, I think we're moving into a self responsibility type era. And when I say that is after the financial crisis of 2008, 2009, people don't want to live through those things again. And back in 2008, 2009, that's right, all of these companies were somewhat caught flat-footed in a sense of how that happened. And then what you've started to see are these a lot of the companies and have taken a new challenge in a sense, but certainly we have moved into the era of personal responsibility. And I think working on your business is more important than working in your business. And when I say that is take the opportunity to take some time, whether it's monthly or quarterly or annually, whatever the case may be, to work on your business, not always in your business.
Yeah, I would definitely second that and even add to it that as a business owner, it's important to work on your business every week. And yes, it's a struggle. I can attest to it. Many of us can attest to it. But if you're not working on your business, your ability to grow, your ability to improve is always going to be limited. So I absolutely agree with you. Spend time working on your business.
I think also, too, one last thing to add on to that is helping people understand that it's in their enlightened self-interest to spend that time because it is so easy to put that off or get into the tactical, right?
Yep.
And kind of push that back a little bit and spend a little bit of time on that other side. And I think what will happen is I've watched people become more fulfilled because they're starting to see things happen on that backside because they're in business, they're building value in their business every day. Now the question becomes is how do we help monetize that value to something that's going to be important to them and their family in whatever that is?
I love it.
It could be something as simple as that you started a business 20, 30 years ago, never dreaming that your daughter or your son or your grandchildren, whatever, may be interested in it.
Yeah.
And building that value and helping people put those things in place really over time makes a lot of sense.
One of the things that you mentioned there was over time, which gives me a sense of it's something small incremental improvements over time equal massive positive outcomes. And so that great reinforcing message for that.
Absolutely.
Any final thoughts?
Well, my last final thought is that you're always able to make a change in your future.
Oh, I love that.
You're always able to make a change in your future. And when we look at it, effort, money, value goes where it's treated best. So even when you're out working and you're creating alliances for your business, where do you go? Where do you go with those alliances? You go with those alliances to where you have compatibility and you have shared value. You can deliver shared value. And that's what this is about. And so, helping people understand, just take the time to not procrastinate on some things that we don't need to procrastinate about.
But add value to our lives, especially incremental improvements, big value over time.
Absolutely.
Any final?
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for joining us today with a special thanks to Robert Lee for sharing his insights and success tactics. We hope you feel inspired and motivated to tackle entrepreneurial challenges with innovation and adaptability. Remember, success is personal. Define it for yourself. But always remember to embrace change, seek growth, and adapt to the ever-evolving business landscape. Thanks again to Robert and all our listeners, and we'll see you next time as we continue exploring stories from incredible entrepreneurs. Stay resilient, stay innovative, and have a wonderful day, everybody.